This is a video looking at warming up and strengthening the wrists and improving flexibility as well. This first movement is just practicing going from extension to flexion. It's warming up the sort of main range of motion on the wrist. And next is going side to side, so this is ulno and radial deviation. Less used range of motion, but it's worth practicing. Do both of these palms facing down and palms facing up, because it will make the bones in your forearms twist at a different position and test the muscles in a different way, as well as all the bones in the joint. So then we start looking at drawing circles. It's just a way of just getting all of those movements combined to get warming up, going both directions. And moving on from there, if you lead with the thumb and draw a figure of 8. Some people might find this a bit difficult to coordinate, but it's going to be quite good for warming up. And then taking the same idea of the figure of 8, but with your fingers interlocked, keeping your wrists in contact. And then same idea again, but this time it's drawing circles with the wrist in contact, and you have to do both ways. Whenever you're doing figure of 8, you basically do both ways automatically, so it's quite handy. And this is the first set of stretches. So pulling the wrist into flexion, and then the wrist into extension. So now looking at wrist flexion again, you can start changing the elbow position. This is going to change the focus from the wrist extensors to brachioradialis and work more of a range of the muscles on the top of the arm. You can hold these stretches for as long as you like. I tend not to hold them especially long, but there's no strict rule of stretching. There's using the two different positions to stretch the forearm. I'm just moving between them, but you can hold either one as well. So going quickly through some figure of 8s to loosen up after the stretching. And this is beginning some of the more resistance-based aspects of this. This is pushing both hands together and pushing the wrists to the ground. So you can see, if you look closely, my wrists start peeling apart. That's where they start hitting their range of flexibility, and that's where you're starting to get the benefits on the range of motions through the wrists. Same on the other side. Generally, you're not going to use this position as often, but it's still worth developing the flexibility through the muscles and just testing them in the stretch as well. And then again, loosening up with some rotations. So moving on to weight bearing exercises now. So starting with the hands flat on the floor, fingers pointing away from your body, just rocking backwards and forth. So it's testing that range of extension. So you'll stretch the inside of the forearm and you'll feel pressure through the joint. But this is going to help make sure your wrist is strong for dealing with things like handstands and cartwheels. If you want to hold in the extended position as well, that's good. Now this is practicing going side to side. This one shouldn't feel as intense as the last one, but it's still going to give the benefits of just making all of the bones and muscles and tendons get worked through that joint. I'm going side to side. This is still doing the side to side on the wrists, but your body weight's coming backwards and forwards. So a lot of time holding an extension with some weight bearing. So it's going to help build up the strength and get the wrists used to being in this position while bearing weight. And then the next one is moving back into extension. So you're rocking your body side to side now. This gives you the chance to focus a little bit more on one wrist at a time as you try and play the range of motion. Through most of these, you want to keep your elbows straight. Whenever you bend the elbow, you're just going to be taking the pressure off the wrist and cancelling out some of the benefit. And this is again going for the same idea of pointing the wrist towards you. As you go through all of these, the two bones in your forearm are going to be sitting in different positions in relation to each other, and then all of the bones in your wrist will have to respond slightly differently to that, as well as all of the muscles responding differently. So it is good to go through all of the positions. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to bring my knees a little bit further forward. I don't particularly like this one, and I don't generally recommend it, but it's worth adding on to the end of the sequence because it is the more advanced progression. So you're now working to move on to the back of your hands. My right hand finds this really difficult because I got a pin in one of the bones in my wrist, and it's too big. So you're trying to get the weight on there, and you're going to go through those same motions. So there I'm rocking backwards and forwards with my wrist pointed in. Generally uncomfortable. Some people will go as far as doing push-ups in this position, but I doubt I'm ever going to be able to do that. And then again, going side to side. So this is working the opposite to the previous position. This is going to be stretching the extensors rather than the flexors. And then once you've gone through all of there, just loosening off again with the figure of eights or circles. Whenever you do the stretches, especially weight-bearing ones, it's going to make your wrist feel stiff. That's why you go through some lighter movements like this afterwards to loosen everything out again. So I hope you found that useful, and hopefully you'll be able to avoid wrist injuries or other wrist issues in the future by using those exercises there. Thank you for watching.